It was a brilliant first touch. You know, you think as a fullback you're going up behind Sabino, he's facing the touchline, the ball's being rolled into him, but because he's a left footer on that right hand side of the field, it's natural for him to take the ball inside. It was a brilliant first touch and a wonderful pass.
Yeah, we will get back to Wentworth, by the way, when we can. Here's Martinelli on the left hand side though, crossing it in, but a diving header away from Akanji, with Havertz near the penalty spot. Brave defending really from Akanji to stoop in there and head it away. Then Bernardo Silva carried it forward. City supporters on their feet. We've already had more atmosphere in this match, Leon, than we did in the whole of Wednesday night, I think, in the Champions League. And of course a goal, and a landmark goal like that, does help. Manchester City 1, Arsenal 0. Manchester City already 4 wins out of 4 in the Premier League this season, looking to go back to the top of the table and already on course with that goal to make it 5 wins out of 5. And also that goal means it's the first time in 2024 that Arsenal have been behind in a Premier League match away from home. Remarkable really that here we are in the second half of September and that's the case, but it's happened here at the home of the champions. Here's Rodri, middle of the half as City go looking for a second goal. They couldn't ask for much more than a goal, an early goal like that. City, who've conceded early goals in their 2 home matches in the Premier League already this season. Diaz through, and then Gundogan turns it round the corner. Rodri looking to get it back. Here's Haaland, but a challenge on the edge of the area on Savinho. He was caught late there as he played it, and now City have got a free kick 2 or 3 yards outside the area, and Savinho actually is making out that he's really felt that.
Yeah, he's still rolling around on the floor protesting. That's a wonderful position for a free kick.
While they organise themselves, back to Celtic, Gavin Wallace. We'll hear from Gavin in a moment.
Well,
I'm sure we will.
Yeah, my concern for Arsenal, I've seen them at Atalanta on the week, was that when Manchester City get the ball, they'll just drop deeper and deeper and deeper, and then Manchester City will sustain that pressure, they'll sustain territory, and also don't leave anybody in advanced positions. Their wide men come all the way back, their 2 centre forwards or centre forward number 10 get deeper in that attack. They were pretty much all in their own penalty area, and City taking advantage of it.
Savinho's on his feet, he's okay, free kick, Gundogan goes for goal, and actually, did that hit the post? It did,
yeah,
hit the post. Raya diving to his left, his hand wasn't far away from it, but I think it struck the outside of the post and rebounded away into the full-back position and out of play for a throw.
Yeah, I'm not sure he would have got there.
A City throw.
Yeah, I mean, he was scrambling. No, I've just seen the replay, he wouldn't have got there. No. Hand to head for Gundogan. It was a natural position for a left footer to hit it over the wall, as it was. Gundogan, you'd be surprised, David Raya going right foot outside, curling it back into that near post and nearly caught the Arsenal keeper out.
So it's a corner for Manchester City from the right-hand side, and Savinho is going to have to go and get the ball from the cone. So Manchester City are organising themselves. Great start for Pep Guardiola, just pacing around, hands in his pockets. But a settling goal like that, Erling Haaland with his 10th of the season, meaning that Manchester City are already in charge. They'd love a second goal. Savinho just waiting. Referee Oliver is going to speak to, well, Akanji and Timber have been at one another, so a word of caution from them, and then of course they go away and start wrestling in exactly the same way that they were previously, and then I think that's Akanji who's gone down inside the penalty area. The corner was taken short. Rodri it is who's gone down, and I think Partey collided with him, and Rodri has gone down clutching the back of his right knee, and now general milling around the players over Rodri, who is sort of wriggling around on his side on the ground.
Yeah, and the players around him are calling to the physios to get on the pitch quickly. We're just about to see it back, and
Partey, who was running after Rodri and sort of nudged into him.
I don't think Partey, I've just seen it again, I'm not sure Partey did anything wrong. I don't know if Rodri just misplaced his foot. Maybe he's holding his right leg. That was one furthest away from where Thomas Partey was actually applying the pressure to his left side. It's his right knee he's holding, and doesn't look good, to be honest. It didn't seem like there was an awful lot of contact. It didn't seem like there was much of a coming together at all. Well, he's on the floor in pain.
Yeah, medical people are looking at him, so we certainly have time to go to Glasgow and Gavin Wallace now. Gavin.
Indeed, it's all over bar the shouting now, John. Celtic 5, Falkirk 2. Falkirk have just went down to 10 men. I'll come back to that. I think it was Michael McKenna just been sent off for a poor challenge. But 2 goals in 2 minutes from Nicholas Kuhn. The second was at the edge of the box, but the first was excellent. He was slipped through, put the afterburners on, and dinked it over the goalkeeper. Celtic 5, Falkirk 2.
Earlier finished Preston 0, Blackburn 0 in the Championship. Both had a man sent off in our first Premier League commentary. Brighton 2, Nottingham Forest 2. Sounded entertaining, I must say, with Ali Bruce Ball and Stephen Warnock. Rodri still receiving treatment here and some concern. So let's get that proper update from Ian Carter at Wentworth at the PGA Golf.
Well, it's all coming down to the final hole here after Rory McIlroy's sensational eagle at the 17th. The clubhouse lead is 20 under par with Tristan Lawrence. McIlroy with a very nervy approach to the 18th, threatened to go in to the water, came up just short. Basically, he's got to get up and down here, the Northern Irishman, to get the birdie that would give him a one-shot victory. Nerve-shredding stuff at Wentworth.
Real concern here over Rodri, who is receiving treatment. Second time in the match that he's gone down, collided with Havertz in the opening seconds, and now is sort of coming together with Partey, but what looks like possibly a problem with his right knee, so the medical people are being very careful. Josko Gvardiol as well is watching. We're just seeing it again. Oh yeah, he does jar it. He certainly jars his knee, doesn't he? As Partey comes in alongside him, Rodri sort of plants his foot and jars his knee, Leon.
Yeah, I mean, he's got his hands on his head at the moment, and as we're saying, signs don't look good. They're monitoring. I mean, there's a stretcher potentially coming out. It seemed quite innocuous, whether it's the pitch, whether there's a bit of slip and slide on the grass. Maybe he planted his foot and it just wobbled, but I mean, we've put this down as potential title decider today, and it started so well for Manchester City, but how significant this could be if Rodri was to be picking up a serious long-term injury, which at the moment, if you were guessing, I'd say the signs aren't great.
Still, Rodri is being carefully looked after. Remember, Rodri is the man who, when he's played in the Premier League, Manchester City have not lost in his last 51 league appearances, and when he was out of the team suspended last season, they lost all 4 matches. Rodri is on his feet. Back to Celtic, Gavin Wallace.
5-2 it finishes to Celtic here, Ian. A lacklustre first half for the hosts. 4 goals in the second, 2 from Ida and 2 in Kuhn in a 10-minute period. Make sure that Celtic go into the semi-final draw alongside Aberdeen, Motherwell and Rangers. Celtic 5, Falkirk 2.
And in the Sunday afternoon Premiership match, Sale Harlequins, Adam Whitty.
90 seconds left. George Ford's penalty has given Sale a 1-point lead. We've got a thrilling finish ahead in an old-fashioned grudge match with 1 minute left now. It's Sale 12, Quins 11.
We will be back with you. And this does not look good for Rodri, who has been led from the field. He has walked off the pitch halfway inside the half. Here is the corner for City, which is headed away by Havertz, and the Manchester City fans behind the goal are screaming. Their suggestion is that Haaland was fouled inside the box off the ball, but Havertz headed it away, and Kovacic is going to come on to replace Rodri. That is going to be the end of his afternoon. 20 minutes on the clock, and yes, clearly there is going to be a concern about how serious this injury is for the talismanic titan that is Rodri, Manchester City's number 16. So they're playing with 10 men just at the moment as Partey is fouled. Free kick to Arsenal. Now an Arsenal man's gone down halfway inside the half, and here's the change. Kovacic coming on to replace Rodri, and it was Kovacic in the early part of the season who was playing in that role.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised it took so long for the decision to come to get Kovacic stripped and ready. It looked like right from the first moment that Rodri would be coming up, but they waited until he signalled as he tried to walk to the side of the pitch. He made the decision himself that substitution needed to be made, and seen a conversation between himself and Pep Guardiola as he was walking down the tunnel, and the faces Pep Guardiola was pulling certainly showed an awful lot of concern for his central midfielder.
And for all of the talents and the depth of the squad, probably here's Martinelli away down the left-hand side for Arsenal, up against Walker, who goes with him, tees it up, Calafiori, left foot, oh, he scored! It's flown past Ederson into the net. Manchester City are absolutely furious about this. Ederson has run to the referee. There's a yellow card immediately from Michael Oliver. The City players are pointing, and are they suggesting that Martinelli was in an offside position down the left? However, it's in the net. It's 1-1, and Calafiori has put the ball in the back of the Manchester City net on his first start for Arsenal, and Mikel Arteta has gathered all of his players around.
I mean, that's incredible. I mean, what City are moaning at is Arsenal took a quick free kick, referee gave a free kick, hand on. Manchester City players were not ready for it. But there's no reason, I don't know if there's any reason why they shouldn't be allowed to take a quick free kick. I don't know if Michael Oliver hadn't blown his whistle down on the pitch, but the Manchester City players were caught out by it. Arsenal were quick to react. Long ball over the top to Martinelli. Manchester City are scrambling. You can see they're frustrated, but once Martinelli got down the side of the penalty area, he thought, is he going to cross it? Havertz is in the middle. City hadn't reacted. He played it back to the edge of the penalty area for his left back, who's coming in at quite a difficult angle to be able to hit the ball with a bit of whip towards that far post of Ederson. I mean, you'd think because of the angle it's going to give Ederson a chance, but he didn't have a slight chance of getting onto that. Wonderful finish. Man City frustrated. Arsenal got themselves right back into this game. And as said, Mikel Arteta calling the whole of his team to the side of the pitch for a quick chat about it. Interesting viewing. This game is on.
Manchester City won, Arsenal won. And yet, confirmation, it was Ederson who was shown the yellow card for his protest. But City absolutely incensed that Arsenal were allowed to take that quick free kick, which led to the equaliser. So Riccardo Calafiori, the Italian international, the summer signing from Bologna, scores on his full debut. Doku now down the left-hand side, clips it across, kept it in somehow, I don't know how. He's run off the field. Cross to the back post. Savinho now on the right-hand side. Left-footed ball in towards the back post. A stretch across from Doku, but straight into the gloves of David Raya, who will launch this downfield onto the head of Diaz. And we're going back to Wentworth because Ian Carter.
Rory McIlroy with a 16-footer to win here, John. He has looked at this putt from all angles, having chipped over the water, flirted with the water with his second shot here. This to finish at 21 under par, finish eagle birdie. It's on its way, heading towards the hole, but it's coming up short, and we're heading for a playoff. It's only a par for McIlroy, and it will be a playoff at 20 under par with Tristan Lawrence of South Africa.
So playoff to come. Ian will keep us up to date. And 1-1 here. So Arsenal having gone a goal behind, Gundogan hitting the post with the free kick, but Arsenal coming up with the equaliser from, it was quite an effort, wasn't it, from Calafiori, as you said, Leon, sort of coming in from the angle on his left foot, but sort of hit a curling shot that flew beyond the dive of Ederson to his left into the far top corner. Watch the highlights tonight. Match of the Day 2 is on BBC One with the women's football show after it. Earlier finished Arsenal 2, Manchester City 2 in the early match in the Women's Super League. So BBC One tonight, but of course anytime on the iPlayer you can watch them. Here's Savinho on the right-hand side. Savinho getting his shirt tugged by Calafiori, who certainly seemed pumped, didn't he, after scoring that goal when he joined in the huddle with Arteta.
Yeah, he does. Well, the whole Arsenal team did right from the first whistle with, Kai Havertz into the chest of Rodri. They're trying to get tight. They're not scared of being physical, making challenges, reacting in that way. And certainly, after having to ride a lot of pressure early in the game from City after that goal, they're certainly giving back as much as he's got.
Yeah, City, no De Bruyne. Now they've lost Rodri. Here's Diaz. 1-1 the score. Here's Savinho on the right-hand side. Savinho, ankles taped with white bands. Here's Bernardo Silva now, slows it to walking pace. Sky blue shirt just bobbing outside his white shorts. Back to Diaz, as I think the rain increases again here. Walker now on the right-hand side, just flicks it back out to the right to Bernardo Silva. Left-footed ball across the box to Kovacic. Kovacic angles it back in. Now Gundogan with the cross that hits the first defender, shouts for handball, and then Trossard is able to scrape it away out of play for a throw into City halfway inside the Arsenal half.
Good response now from Manchester City, gaining control of the ball, gaining control of territory. Again, just basically trying to force the issue, just trying to regain real control. Arsenal, in doing so, they're always happy to get 11 men behind the ball, even if it's 5 or 10 yards outside their own penalty area. Arsenal trust that they'll be able to ride it. People in good positions, working hard, defending as a team. It's difficult to have a counter-attack from those moments, haven't been so deep.
Manchester City still in possession, middle of the half, but it breaks down and they break away, Manchester City, towards the halfway line. Arsenal, but City have won it back. Gundogan to Savinho. Everything's going down the right-hand side with Calafiori having come in at left back. And then Walker, Kovacic just outside the area. Gundogan, massed ranks of Arsenal defence. They managed to smuggle the ball away. And Trossard, here's one downfield for Havertz to chase, who was in with a tussle on Diaz, fouls him to free kick to Manchester City just inside the Arsenal half. So the playoff will be underway shortly, and Billy Horschel is in that playoff as well. So Tristan Lawrence, Billy Horschel and Rory McIlroy involved in a three-way playoff at Wentworth, with the details to come. Highlights on BBC Two of that later, as Jeremy Doku is challenged and it's out of play, no free kick given for that, and the final whistle has gone in the Sale Harlequins match with you, Adam Whitty.
Yeah, and Sale have seen off Harlequins by 1 point to get their season up and running. 12-11 they've won. George Ford's boot responsible for all 12. Tough old grudge match this in wet and windy conditions. Sale's 5th opening game win in a row. They've beaten Harlequins by 12 points to 11.
Manchester City supporters up in arms that Arsenal are stealing a few yards with the throw-in, all on their feet on the far side. City win it back. Here's Gundogan infield, Kovacic, who's just come into the game. Bernardo Silva now to the right-hand side to Savinho. Savinho with a cross. Haaland goes for it, but Saliba did well, went with him. Saliba won the header. Excellent defensive header, actually, against Haaland. Haaland didn't score against Arsenal last season. Took him 9 minutes to score against them this season. Savinho back to Walker. Walker just took a touch there, thought about the cross. Martinelli was with him. Comes back to Diaz, right-footed ball in. Diaz, that's prodded away by Saliba. Now Akanji out to Doku. The intensity of the rain increases here on the east side of Manchester, pouring into the stadium. Now Walker's going to try a low shot. Raya goes down and is able to field that quite comfortably as he lands on his right side.
Yeah, I mean, it was certainly from distance from Kyle Walker, but with the conditions and how slick the turf is, the rain is now pouring down again. Never a bad thing to try and score from distance, and also Arsenal are so deep, you have a shot from distance, you force them to have to come out and give you that bit of pressure, which can create spaces to find number 10s.
Manchester City 1, Arsenal 1. Our BBC colleague Simon Stone, who's just sitting away over to our right-hand side, you'll be able to read his words on this match. Phil McNulty as well via the BBC Sport website and app. Simon spotted that Pep Guardiola actually kicked his own seat in anger after City were caught out by that quick free kick, was yelling at Andy Madley, the fourth official. So
it was after he'd run onto the pitch. As soon as the goal went in, he was 3 or 4 yards on the pitch gesturing. I didn't know if it was towards his own players or towards the referee, but Manchester City as a whole were just caught out. Whether you call it a sleep, whether they felt the referee had to blow his whistle, either way, Arsenal took full advantage.
They did. 1-1 the score. Pep Guardiola, in all of his time as the Manchester City manager, has lost only once in the Premier League to Arsenal, and that was the match in the October of last season when Martinelli scored the only goal. 1-1 then it is. Haaland for Manchester City, Calafiori for Arsenal. Savinho won't catch this down the right-hand side. It runs all the way through for a goal kick. And by the way, when we've been running through that other sport, if you're wondering about the one-day cup final at Trent Bridge, abandoned for the day. There is a reserve day tomorrow, so we'll see what the weather holds. So frustration for everyone there. I'm not surprised looking at the weather here in Manchester, where it is absolutely tipping down now. And Arsenal, the crowd are on to David Raya, who's taking his time to take this goal kick. And what have you spotted there, Leon?
I was just seeing the replay of the Arsenal goal. The reason Manchester City are so frustrated is the referee called the captains over. And Kyle Walker, in doing so, vacated that right-back area, went into the centre of the circle to have a chat with Michael Oliver, as did Bukayo Saka from the other side. And before Kyle Walker had recovered into his position, the free kick was taken into the area he'd vacated. So you can see the frustration. Kyle Walker, you see him going up to Michael Oliver afterwards saying, you called me over out of my position for a chat and we're punished because of it.
Yeah, and
so
then Martinelli had the freedom of the left wing.
Yes, absolutely. Into that area where Kyle Walker was out of because of Michael Oliver having that discussion. And Pep Guardiola certainly knew about it. Kyle Walker over to Michael Oliver to ask him, how can that be allowed? But the goal was given.
Looks like there's going to be plenty to talk about on 606 on 5 Live tonight with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton. They'll be taking your calls. Hashtag BBC 606, text 85058. I'll let you know when the lines will be open. And the Football Daily will have it all for you, all of the reaction, all of the interviews on BBC Sounds download for free in the morning. Here's Savinho spreads a ball, left-footed. Doku tried to take it in his stride but missed it. Cheers from the Arsenal supporters. He went one way, the ball kept going, and it's out of play for a throw into Arsenal in their right back position. So Pep Guardiola, he does look as though he is simmering, doesn't he? Down there, hands in his pockets.
Yeah, and
rain pouring down, bouncing off his head almost.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, it's like that.
You can understand why, because the opening goal in this game we all thought was important to dictate how the game then proceeded after that. Would Arsenal have to come out? Would City then get control? They don't need to force the issue, and they did that. They got the opening goal with a good bit of tactical play, good bit of skill, brilliant finish, and then there are many ways to concede, but if you feel like there's an injustice, that's when frustration starts to step in, and that's where Pep Guardiola and Manchester City are right now.
Yeah, Arsenal winning a free kick in the centre of the field, 1-1 the score, and again, the Arsenal support, the City supporters are suggesting that Arsenal are taking this in the wrong place. Partey now curling the ball across, but Walker gets his head to that. Comes down for Savinho. I think got his shirt pulled by Trossard. He does. It's a free kick to City and a yellow card for Trossard. Not surprised by that. Savinho would have been away over the halfway line, so Trossard is booked.
Yeah, I think it was just enough is enough for Michael Oliver. I think he's tried not to give yellow cards, and there was certainly a tug of the shirt. There was a pull of the arm as well. He's tried to let the game continue. He's not had the easiest of 34 minutes in this game. Michael Oliver, the crowd have been giving him a bit of grief. The players have been running towards him. Both sets of players have shown frustration at times, and he's finally decided to get that yellow card out to one of those outfield players.
Remarkably, 34 minutes have been played. It has absolutely whizzed by. I mean, we've had stoppages, yes, for the injuries to Rodri. Couldn't have been a better start for Manchester City. Haaland scoring his 100th goal for the club. But then Gundogan hit the post. Then they lost Rodri. And then they lost the equaliser. And Andy Madley is just having to say to Pep Guardiola, just stay off the pitch. He's inching towards it all the time. Doku through. Little touch back from Guardiola. Doku with a shot! Dipping. Via a deflection which landed just over the far top right corner as he looked at it, but it's a corner.
Yeah, he does that well, Jeremy Doku. Quite often he'll get the ball and go to the touchline, but he's a player that doesn't mind playing 1-2s and stepping inside, and he played a lovely 1-2 in the corner of the penalty area, stepped in, and you could tell it was a corner kick the way the ball looped up after his effort, but dangerous position there.
Mikel Arteta steps forward, clapping his hands almost Mick Jagger style above his head. And here's Savinho, who plays it into the edge of the 6-yard box, but that's headed away for Arsenal. Nodded back out by Walker, but actually straight to Martinelli. And now forward from Trossard. Here's Declan Rice. I have to say, I've not mentioned his name a great deal in the match. Declan Rice made his return after having to miss the Tottenham match last Sunday. Crossfield pass from him, but Walker got his head to that to nod it out of play. Martinelli was going to leave the throw to be taken by Calafiori behind him, the tall Italian international who really caught the eye at the Euros in the summer before he actually was, remember, suspended for the match in the knockout stages when Italy went out. The Bologna player who's converted, wasn't he, to a central defender by Thiago Motta, who is the coach at Bologna, but starting here as the left back. And you could argue possibly caught out for the opening goal, but then scoring the equaliser. So it's been eventful. Saka down the right-hand side for Timber, and then back for Saka, and then the covering challenge from Guardiola to slide that behind for an Arsenal corner.
Yeah, good play from Arsenal down that right-hand side. We've not seen an awful lot from them in terms of slowly building up from the back, playing through the thirds and opening up this Manchester City team. I think the best moments have come with potential counter-attacks, but you know, they'll be pleased certainly to be 36 minutes in, 1-1 even inside Manchester City's penalty area with a set piece we know they're very effective with.
Saka is going to take this. We know about the strength. That's how they won the match at Tottenham last Sunday afternoon. Corner, Saka to take this. Arsenal players lining up at the far post. Then in they come. Here's the ball. Saka plays it in right under the crossbar, and Gabriel got there as well. Point blank range. Absolutely threw himself at that, but could only head it over the top of the crossbar. But he was virtually under the crossbar himself when he got his head to it.
Arsenal just feel they can score at every set piece, and I'm not sure. He'll be so disappointed that he's headed this over the top of the bar by millimetres rather than getting it underneath. It's well worked, a wonderful delivery. It's probably 3 yards out, on line with the back post when it lands at the head of Gabriel. Doku's trying to mark him on the edge of the penalty area, which is a mismatch. He's never staying with him, and once he breaks away, he's going to get over whatever City players defending that area zonally. Jumps head and shoulders above them, just can't keep his header down.
Well, after all of the breakdown of the way that Tottenham defended that set piece last weekend, I mean, Manchester City there couldn't handle it.
No, absolutely not, and it's just really good imaginative set piece play from Arsenal. They don't always do the same thing every single time. They mix it up. They have different kinds of set pieces into different areas, but more often than not it's Gabriel, if not Saliba, who's trying to meet it. They're the ones to mark, and Man City tried to get him stopped by Doku being a handful for him and shrugged him off far too easy.
The other thing as well with Rodri, with losing Rodri, you know, they've lost a massive presence wherever he is on the pitch, and Kovacic coming on, who is, well, he's certainly not the same stature, and Pep Guardiola, thankfully, finally, I was beginning to worry for him. Someone's brought him a coat, so finally now he's got a little bit of cover from the Manchester weather. Mikel Arteta, not so though. City with the ball inside their own half. 6 minutes to go plus added time, and there'll be plenty of that, probably 7 or 8 minutes or more of added time at the end of this first half. But City with the ball on the halfway line, and it's evenly contested. It had the feel that it might be going City's way, even though it was such an early goal in the 9th minute from Erling Haaland. But Arsenal have fought their way back into this game, and Gabriel and Saliba now on the edge of the penalty area. Lovely from Saliba there. That was classy play to take it away from Erling Haaland. And now he has Timber on the right-hand side, starting out right back. Ben White on the bench today, if you've just switched onto us. And then Saka, infield party, goes back into his own half. This is the sort of thing that Mikel Arteta will love to see. Arsenal having controlled and composed possession inside the Etihad Stadium, the home of Manchester City. There's Gabriel again, has it on the halfway line.
You know, with Arsenal though, they've actually been really confident in playing out from the back. They've been crisp, they've been effective, even through a Manchester City press. But when they get to that moment, they're actually missing Martin Odegaard. I know he's a player that you definitely miss, but there are passes there for them. There are opportunities once they beat that to play someone in. Martinelli, Saka, Trossard in good positions at times, but they're just lacking that person in that moment. Thomas Partey's not quite the guy once he gets there to play that pass. Declan Rice, maybe not. Odegaard would see them, but still in a good position at the moment.
Yeah, Arsenal keeping possession, go all the way back to Raya, then Havertz does very well on the halfway line, chesting down, then sliding into the tackle to keep possession. Saka now to Trossard just outside the box. Trossard's ball in, headed down and away by Diaz, and volleyed further away downfield by Bernardo Silva as Arsenal take possession again. And this is excellent play from Arsenal just now here. Calafiori, his long hair flying all over the place because it's soaking wet, to Martinelli on the left-hand side. Here's Calafiori again, roundabout from where he scored the equaliser. Then back to Partey, who angles it back behind him. to Gabriel. Calafiori, the first Arsenal player to score here against Manchester City since Rob Holding, as Martinelli plays it into Gabriel, and now back to Martinelli on the left-hand side, pulls it back, and on the stretch, Trossard arriving. Gundogan went with him, possibly did enough, but in the end he lifted it up and over the top of the crossbar. Trossard,
he was on the stretch there. Trossard wasn't the easiest of finishes, probably 12 yards out, 3 yards to the left of the penalty spot, but brilliant play, crisp, confident, decided that Martinelli popped it off and ran in behind Kyle Walker, and Kyle Walker couldn't quite go with him. Good play from Arsenal, good patience in the build-up to finally find that opportunity open.
That's Leon Osman. This is 5 Live and the World Service from the BBC. At half-time we'll have more from Wentworth, where I'm guessing that the playoff will now be underway, the 3-man playoff. Rory McIlroy involved as Arsenal win it back. Saliba on the halfway line. Saliba then carries it forward and plays it towards the left-hand side, Trossard, but Walker got there first. Naturally, the offside flag is up against Trossard, and it's a free kick to Manchester City. And also more as well after the Singapore Grand Prix, which was won by Paul's Lando Norris. So we'll have more on that at half-time, and the full story on the Checkered Flag podcast, which is available on BBC Sounds, which incidentally is where you can listen back to the big fight last night, the Dubois-Joshua fight. You can listen back to that as it happened on 5 Live if you go to BBC Sounds. Manchester City 1, Arsenal 1. Ederson just carrying the ball out and passing it to Gundogan, who's flicked it across the line of the penalty area. We're in the 44th minute here, in the pouring rain in Manchester. Diaz, right-footed ball, groans because it was under the head of Timber, who's able to head it away, then forward from Akanji's left foot, back to Kovacic. Kovacic now spots space opening up in front of him. Kovacic has carried it into the middle of the Arsenal half, then gives it square to Walker. Mikel Arteta makes a two-handed raised arm signal to his players out there. Walker goes into Kovacic, then back to Walker. Savinho now, the arrival from Brazil, left-footed ball, dribbles all the way into the penalty area from the angle, and eventually into the gloves of David Raya, who falls on it.
Yeah, Arsenal defended that really well, because that was a dangerous ball, especially when you're not quite sure what's over your left shoulder, what's coming in behind you. But Declan Rice, who'd gone back into his own 6-yard box, tracking the run of Gvardiol, just knew exactly where he was. Really good confidence. Maybe got a shout from his goalkeeper to help him out, but David Raya scooped it up. So
1-1 it is with half-time approaching. We'll see the board from the fourth official, Andy Madley, very shortly. Arsenal 1-0 down, first time they've been behind away from home in the Premier League since December. But 1-1 now, Saka, and now here's Declan Rice into the box. The cross is blocked. Defenders were there, 2 or 3 of them actually. Gvardiol in the end, I think it was, who got the leg to it to deflect it behind. Corner for Arsenal, we know again. Remember how dangerous they were from the last one, Leon?
Yeah, very nearly scored. That was really good defending though from Gvardiol. He was up against Saka, he was up against an overlap run from Declan Rice, and once that was played, I just thought he was going to go to ground early. Gvardiol, Declan Rice just took that extra touch, thinking maybe that the tackle was coming. A good patient defender from the City fullback.
How many minutes of added time do you think are coming, Leon?
Oh,
Have a guess, quick.
9.
Okay, interesting. I'll go lower. Saka is about to take this corner from the right-hand side. Little steps. Saka then left-footed, it's into the danger zone. Gabriel heads it in! He's there again! He arrived right into the middle of the sky blue, and he couldn't miss. Off his head, in the net. Arsenal were 1-0 down, and now they lead 2-1 here in Manchester, inside the Etihad Stadium. What a turnaround. Set piece does it again for Arsenal. Gabriel, just like Tottenham last Sunday, and it's Manchester City 1, Arsenal 2.
They were warned on the last set piece, Manchester City, and this just felt like a carbon copy. Brilliant ball yet again, exact same matchup. Gabriel trying to be stopped. The fact is that Kyle Walker, I think this time, who's gone on him instead of Jeremy Doku, but he can't do any better than Doku had done in that situation. It's a spin round the back. Arsenal had 4 players that started on the far 6-yard box, but the moment the set piece was taken, they all charge in, get around Ederson. He can't move back into that position that at the far post where Gabriel arrives. They just get bodies in there, free up their main player, and as he comes round the back, he heads it comfortably into the back of the goal. I think there is a VAR check though, John.
Checking for a possible foul. Well, this is an interesting, I mean, what a big call this is. Martinelli, Steve Crossman sitting next to me here, suggests there's the possible foul, but I mean, this is a very, very big call, and I think the cheers of the Arsenal supporters will tell you that Michael Oliver has said, check, complete, goal stands.
Yeah, first view, and I didn't see enough in that set piece to say that there was a particular foul. There was just an awful lot of bodies in that area, and once you do that, goalkeeper's got no chance of coming through such big players. And you believe Gabriel, I mean, he'll be disappointed he didn't score the first time, wasn't missing the second.
So here we are, Manchester City, who have not lost in their last 47 home matches in all competitions, are losing to Arsenal, who've already won at Aston Villa and Tottenham this season. There's a long way to go, but what a match we've got on our hands, Leon.
Yeah, anybody who thought this would be dull, with not much happening, with no goal-mouth action, certainly got it wrong. This has been a very entertaining game. There's been an awful lot happening, coming together, challenges, injuries, goals, set pieces. Yeah, we've had an awful lot.
And I feel that, you know, Arsenal will cause problems from set pieces for any team, but to lose Rodri does seem highly significant. That Gabriel went close from one corner and scored from the next one.
Yeah, but it may seem even more significant than the individual game. You know, if we're talking about a Manchester City team that don't lose games with Rodri. And suddenly you saw what happened last season. Yes, they've coped okay early in this season. But if you're going to lose a player of his quality over a long term, which maybe that injury looked like it could be, Manchester City will be up against it. I
think I was going to say to you, Leon, in the build-up to the equaliser, that even City, with the depth that they have and the quality that they have, there's one player you don't want to lose. It's Rodri. Yeah. They've lost him and they've conceded 2 goals and they're losing at home to Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, every team has at least one, sometimes 2, 3 players that they're so huge, their impact is so much, even as a leader. And we've seen how significant he is to this Manchester City team.
City, who will be seething, they'll be fuming about the way that the equaliser was scored, the build-up to it, the fact that Michael Oliver allowed a quick free kick to be taken. Kyle Walker, as the captain, had been called across into the centre circle, so the free kick was taken quickly. And
did we see how many minutes, John? Sorry,
it's 6, I think.
6
it was.
So your very vague lower shout won the game.
Yeah. It's the little wins, Leon. 2-1 Arsenal lead, and City with it on the left-hand side. Doku now, quick feet from him. Timber goes with him, and Timber's come out with the ball, and Timber's able to clear it away. Although Akanji just gets there first ahead of Havertz. Gundogan. So no De Bruyne from the start for Manchester City. They lost Rodri during the course of the match. We're in those 6 minutes of added time. We've already had almost 5 of them. I have to confess that trusty Gary Flintoff sitting alongside me may have been a help with knowing how many minutes there were to be added on at the end of the first half. Here's Doku, back to Akanji, forward of the centre circle. Arsenal have got everyone back. Absolutely desperate now to go in with the lead at half-time, Mikel Arteta's side. And then Savinho is challenged by Calafiori, no free kick. Savinho ended up flat on his face. Michael Oliver says no. Won back by Gvardiol. Here's Kovacic to Walker. Mikel Arteta wanders forward, putting his hands through what must be soaking wet black hair. Walker, square again to Diaz. Half-time, we'll have more on the Brighton 2, Nottingham Forest 2. Feelings ran high in that match as well. Both coaches sent off, and then pass forward from Diaz goes through everyone and all the way through for a goal kick. And I think that'll be just about it for the first half. What an eventful first half.
Yeah, absolutely. And Pep Guardiola is clapping his team at the moment, but he's going to have to find some answers at half-time. His team are frustrated. His team feel like there's been an injustice. A team that started so well and, as you said, lost their main player is Does he feel like he needs to change something tactically? Does he need to just calm his team down? They have ammunition on the substitutes bench, but you open yourself up even more against Arsenal. They are a threat on the counter-attack as is anything else.
Yeah, and now they've scored 25 goals from set pieces in the Premier League since the start of last season. As City win it back, and then Partey slides in. Savinho was caught there, went sprawling down near the halfway line. It's a yellow card from Michael Oliver. Again, City up in arms, but a free kick just inside their own half.
Yeah, he pounds the floor after the free kick, and actually felt he could have potentially carried on. Yes, it was a foul. Yes, it's a yellow card, but certainly it just shows that this Manchester City team are rattled. They're frustrated. Things aren't going their way. The decisions aren't going their way, even here. There's a moment of frustration.
Yeah, things generally not going their way. That injury to Rodri. Here is the free kick then, hit long by Walker towards the edge of the penalty area. Arsenal haven't got it away yet. Header further away by Timber, and then Trossard puts his shoulder in and concedes a free kick. And I think that might be he's already been yellow carded. He's off. Trossard, it's a second yellow, and Arsenal are down to 10 men right at the end of the first half. And now it's Arsenal who can't believe it. Saliba throws his arms in the air, but Michael Oliver says no. He points him. He says, even though Trossard has gone back in amongst all of the players who are gathering together there, Michael Oliver's saying, having none of it, he's saying to Trossard, no, off you go. And for the second time this season now, Arsenal are down to 10 men, leading 2-1, but now 10 men.
Well, I'm just saying, decisions that are going your way, and Arsenal, Man City will feel that things haven't gone their way. Well, they've just got a huge one there. In my opinion, that is harsh. That is harsh. Trossard goes for a challenge. Yes, he probably knows he's given a free kick away, but he's already committed. Once he's given the free kick away, the ball bounces next to him. He's already committed to trying to win the next challenge as well. Yes, he barged Bernardo Silva in the back, and he's going into Kyle Walker. There's a moment where I think we have to give players a little benefit of the doubt when it's that quick. There's a difference between just kicking the ball away, and there's a difference between time wasting, and there's a difference between not quite finishing your challenge. Yes, the cynical people may look back and go, well, he had a moment where he could have just stopped and he could have not kicked that ball away like a clearance. But this is such a fast-moving Premier League game. The margins are so small. The decision-making things that happen so quickly in Premier League football that he's had half a second, maybe a second to react, to not follow through with that challenge, and in doing so Michael Oliver sent him off. I think it's harsh.
There was the challenge, which was robust, and then there was the kicking the ball away straight after that. And I think you've called it, Leon. I think it was probably for the kicking away of the ball, which he did. I mean, he absolutely belted it away. And if you're a player in the Premier League, I mean, how many warnings do you need? And as I just said, Arsenal desperate to get to half-time, leading 2-1. So here's the free kick into the area. It bounces down and is cleared away. And well, what about that? And Mikel Arteta, he is furious. He says something in the general direction of the fourth official, his old boss, Pep Guardiola, just to his right, the two of them walking down the tunnel together, both with grievances, and now just keeping an eye on the players as well, because tempers are raised. And as the players leave the pitch, Calafiori just pulling off his headband, and Bukayo Saka as the Arsenal captain in discussions with Michael Oliver. But there we are. What a half. What a half. No boring stalemate, that. Manchester City 1, Arsenal 2 at half-time. City led through Haaland. Gundogan hit the post, could have been 2-0 up. Then Rodri off injured with what looks like a knee problem. Then a controversial goal. Calafiori ended up shooting in on his first start for Arsenal. And Gabriel, right at the end of the half, heading in to put Arsenal in front before, deep in added time, Leandro Trossard sent off for a second yellow card for kicking the ball away.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly had an entertaining half. We've certainly got an incredible amount to talk about. Yeah, I mean, you just now, I feel a bit soured by that decision. That's going to change the course of the second half. We've now not got two of the best teams going toe-to-toe and see who comes out on top. Managers making decisions. We're now going to see attack versus defence, and can Arsenal hold out? Can Arsenal maybe get something on the counter-attack? Can Manchester City eventually wear this Arsenal team down and score the goals? But You know, we should be talking about what a wonderful first half of football, what a wonderful testament to Premier League football that these two can go at each other like they have done and find the advantages that they have. Brilliant first half.
Yeah, but how much of a bearing will that red card? That's the 17th Premier League red card that Arsenal have received under Mikel Arteta's management, more than any other team during that period of time. So Trossard off, Arsenal down to 10 men, half-time here, Manchester City 1, Arsenal 2.
The Premier League World Service.
Hope you're enjoying that wherever you're listening around the world. Our live Premier League commentary this Sunday on Sports World with me, Delith Lloyd. Manchester City 1, Arsenal 2 at half-time. Our thanks to John Murray and Leon Osman. We'll be back with them in just under a quarter of an hour. So much to dissect in that match with our football reporter George Addo in a few minutes' time. Big second half, though, coming up for Arsenal. We'll have to play it with 10 men. Reaction to come as well to Brighton's draw with Nottingham Forest. After the very latest BBC News, here's Nick Miles.
Thanks, Delith. The left-wing anti-corruption candidate Anura Kumara Dissanayake has won Sri Lanka's presidential poll.
On the outside of that back five, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori on the left-hand side, and Arsenal, and then a bank of four in front of that. Martinelli, Declan Rice, Thomas Partey, Kai Havertz on the right, and they look like they're playing without a striker at the moment.
So welcome back, everyone. The rain is still falling in Manchester. Arsenal leading by 2-1 against Manchester City, who haven't lost here in regulation time or otherwise since 2022. And Manchester City in possession. The City team, as it ended the first half, as Walker plays the ball through for Bernardo Silva to chase, but just got too much on that, and Raya was able to fall onto his knees, and he's hanging onto the ball, hence the whistles. City with Ederson in goal, Walker, Akanji, Diaz and Gvardiol, and then Kovacic, who came on as a substitute. Rodri had to leave the field after 21 minutes. He jarred his knee. That was shortly before Arsenal equalised. So Kovacic with Bernardo Silva and Gundogan, Savinho and Doku in the wide positions, Erling Haaland through the middle. Haaland opened the scoring with his 100th goal for the club in the 9th minute, and Akanji has just taken a bang, so it's a free kick to City halfway inside their own half. He's okay, just getting to his feet. And Arsenal, as Leon Osman said, Raya in goal, now 3 central defenders, White, Saliba and Gabriel, Timber and Calafiori the wing backs, then Thomas Partey, Havertz, Rice and Martinelli. But Arsenal having to play the whole of the second half with 10 men. Diaz, now right-footed out towards the far side, played back by Savinho to Walker. Walker then to Kovacic. Is this going to be the pattern, do we think, for the second half against Manchester City with an extra man? I mean, that's the footballing equivalent of torture. Walker playing it in, Haaland with a header, but it's a comfortable catch by Raya, who just steps to his right. He was well patrolled by Saliba there, couldn't get a clean header on it, and Raya made the catch.
Yeah, I think that's something that Manchester City will try and do at times. Just put the ball into the penalty area. Yes, they can keep moving the ball around. Yes, they can stretch the play. For Arsenal, that back five, midfield four ahead of them. I think if you're going to defend deep, I mean, they were defending their 6-yard box on that occasion. Sometimes put the ball in, trust Haaland to get on the end of it. Unlucky with that effort.
So 2-1 Arsenal lead. World Service listeners are with us from all around the planet. It's raining in Manchester. Wherever you are, if you're originally from Manchester, around the world, perhaps you won't be surprised. Bernardo Silva pulling it back. Kovacic on the edge of the area, arriving onto it on his right foot. It sat up nicely. Havertz came across, but in the end he snatched at it rather, and it was over the top by 5 yards.
Yeah, it's one you probably think he could do better, but there was a bit of pressure coming. He decided to take it on first time, and the technique he used, he was never really going to be able to keep that down. But you're right about the pattern. Arsenal now back five, midfield four. Gaps across that midfield for Arsenal have been evident in this first half. Usually back four, midfield five. There's just some gaps opening up edge of the penalty area there. Arsenal have to be wary of. City could take advantage of.
This is, I have to say, watching from our neutral seats here, this is absolutely fascinating to see how this will play out as Gvardiol is pulled back by Timber. Free kick near the edge of their own penalty area. Arsenal, City attacking as they like to do towards the north stand, where the new stand is being built behind it. You can clearly see the maze of metalwork outside the stadium. And come on City, the home supporters sing. Kovacic to Walker. Kyle Walker out towards the right-hand side. Savinho back to Walker again. Arsenal sitting in position behind the ball, inside everyone, inside their own penalty area. Although Havertz just comes out now as I say that. But Diaz then to the right to Walker, thought about the shot, leaves it for Savinho. Savinho now square towards Diaz. Diaz drags it back with one of his blue boots, gives it to Savinho. Arsenal players immediately close him down. Back to Diaz it goes, 25 yards out. Now to Doku on the left-hand side. What can he do with his trickery? He's on his right foot, pulls it back centrally to Kovacic. Then Kovacic through the middle to Savinho, took a heavy touch, and then pounced on by Havertz, and Havertz now carries the ball away towards the halfway line. He's surrounded by sky blue. Havertz takes it round Diaz, but Diaz puts in an excellent challenge actually and dispossesses him. Havertz left on the ground. Mikel Arteta just next to it was asking for the free kick, nothing doing. Gundogan now leaves it to Gvardiol, and now Walker. This pattern resumes again. as Savinho finds some space on the right-hand side into the penalty area, but in comes the challenge on him. Calafiori doesn't clear it. Excellent footwork from Savinho, and Savinho challenged by Calafiori. I think Michael Oliver let that go, and it was the assistant on the far side, Dan Cook, who flagged for it, and Michael Oliver agreed with him and gave the free kick.
Yeah, it was, and I don't think there's too many complaints actually from Arsenal. Calafiori did lunge in at Savinho, and I do think he made contact and it was a free kick, but you're right, Michael Oliver did play on. It was the official on the far side of the pitch that gave the decision. Arsenal backs to the wall here, haven't been able to get out of their own third since the start of the second half. Man City pushing forward.
However, they will have expected this. You know, this will have been the talk, wouldn't it, at half-time from Mikel Arteta. They are getting exactly what they will have expected at the break. So a free kick from out in the full-back position. Bernardo Silva is going to play it in left-footed over everyone. Diaz making the run, but he turns and gestures towards Bernardo Silva, and his fellow Portuguese over there on the far side puts his palms apart. So long-range discussion about that free kick from the two of them. Goal kick for Arsenal, who will, I will boldly predict, take as long as they can to take this goal kick.
Yeah, and if he carries on as he has, I'd be surprised if Davaré doesn't see a yellow card at some point during this second half. He's certainly stretching the patience of these Man City fans and possibly Michael Oliver.
That's going to come. We could have a sweepstake on the minute that yellow card comes for time wasting for David Raya, as Diaz heads the ball across his own penalty area and Manchester City start again. So the lines are open for 606 08 085 909 693 for the 5 Live football phone in with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton. Manchester City continuing to bring it forward behind Kovacic, and now Akanji, little pass to Kovacic. Walker. It's entirely possible that we are going to see a whole half of exactly this. Manchester City in possession and Arsenal with everyone behind the ball. But as we've said, Wednesday night against Inter was excellent preparation for Manchester City for this. They couldn't find a way through there, but now Walker towards the right-hand side to Bernardo Silva, strokes it back across. Diaz is on his left foot, shoots for goal, but slices it wide. Looking for the top left corner, but wide by 5 or 6 yards.
Yeah, a couple of things. I think this is a game they will miss Kevin De Bruyne in. Someone who's got the ability to make you worry from the edge of the penalty area. Arsenal will be quite happy if they've got Ruben Diaz shooting from 25 plus yards on his left foot on the edge of, outside the penalty area. And they haven't been too quick to come out and stop potential shots from distance at the moment, but if that was somebody like Kevin De Bruyne, then you have to get out, you have to stop them efforts at your goal.
Foden on the bench, Leon, Grealish as well. Two players that might be able to unlock. But here come Manchester City, Bernardo Silva, and Arsenal having to backpedal. It's given to Savinho, who's cutting infield from the right-hand side, scoops it forward. Doku chasing this, but Timber gets there first, just gets there first, on the dead ball line to volley it out of play for a throw into Manchester City. If you've just switched on, dramatic game here. Manchester City 1, Arsenal 2, as Kovacic just outside the D, square to Walker. Walker now rolls it out with his right foot. Bernardo Silva again just receives it, cushions it. Left-footed ball across, Kovacic into the penalty area. Calafiori steps forward, and Calafiori plays it across the edge of his own penalty area on his first start for Arsenal. It's just cleared away by Ben White, just clears it out of play on the halfway line. You would think that they can't survive like this, Arsenal, or can they?
Well, you would think a team against Manchester City with 10 men playing actually 5 yards outside their own box will eventually be worn down, but this is a defensive unit that has been especially good this season. If anyone can do it, maybe, just maybe, Arsenal can.
Diaz, ball comes to a stop. Gundogan is there, turning. Gundogan back after his year in Barcelona, and now Savinho hits a shot that hits Gabriel inside the box, bounces across the penalty area. Manchester City back in possession. Doku is being manhandled by Timber, but stays on his feet, withstands it. Diaz now through the middle. Diaz To his right to Gundogan, now into the penalty area to Bernardo Silva. The ankle's tight, plays it into Calafiori. There's a leg in there from Martinelli, headed back into the box. Now Partey volleys it away on the edge of the Arsenal penalty area, and eventually it bounces out of play for a throw-in. But Martinelli is preaching to the assistant on the far side that shouldn't have been given to Manchester City, but it was. Kovacic now, as Manchester City quickly get it underway again. Gundogan just outside the penalty area. Bernardo Silva, this is terribly, terribly tight. No space in there at all. Into the penalty area, back out of the box. Now back to Akanji. Akanji, he gives it square. Walker's involved now. Walker back to Kovacic. Kovacic just outside the D's, already scored once this season against his old club Chelsea. It arrives at the feet of Doku on the left-hand side. Doku taking on Timber, puts in the challenge. Doku goes past him, and then the covering challenge is there from Havertz, which loops the ball behind off the body of the German for a corner, which Manchester City take quickly. First corner of the second half. Gundogan plays it in. That's headed away on the edge of the box by Saliba. Comes back to Akanji, shoots low but dragged it wide via a little deflection. It's another corner for City from the left.
Yeah, it's just sustained pressure from Manchester City. Arsenal cannot get out. Arsenal can't keep the ball in any way. Manchester City might as well bring a Phil Foden on for Gvardiol, take off a defender. They're not being used at the moment for Manchester City.
Well, all of the substitutes are lined up watching this corner that Gundogan takes short, back up the line to Doku, a little shimmy, and then Doku's ball in, blocked immediately by Martinelli. Martinelli trying to get there first on the breakaway, but Walker then spins a pass to the right-hand side to Bernardo Silva. Now Kovacic, a little bit of space, tees it back to Walker. He sets it up. Walker shoots straight at the goalkeeper. Raya makes the parry. That was travelling, but it was straight at the Arsenal goalkeeper, who just actually caught it with soft hands on the parry, and then Arsenal were able to clear.
Yeah, certainly a brilliant effort from Kyle Walker. Yes, you'd probably expect Raya to make the save, but in these conditions it felt like the ball was moving a little bit as well. He'd done well just to get his two forearms behind it and push it not only away from goal but out of danger.
Yeah, it was worth a goal for Kyle Walker from that position. They might as well when you see the opportunity, because with still over half an hour to play, inevitably there will be other opportunities that will present themselves. Manchester City 1, 10-man Arsenal 0, having had Rice sent off when they drew 1-1 with Brighton, the only previous Premier League match this season when Arsenal have dropped points. Trossard sent off for delaying the restart just before half-time. So Arsenal leading 2-1, having been a goal down. Doku, again, City with the ball just outside the penalty area, a little pass to Doku, then back to Kovacic, square from Kovacic, Walker, out it goes to Savinho now, left-footed ball into the box, hits Haaland, Gabriel in front of him, Gabriel and Haaland together, and Gabriel with a touch that took it behind for a corner, this time from the right-hand side, that Manchester City are looking to take quickly, which they do, and then find Walker on the corner of the box. Walker's ball in, Haaland at the back post, Raya with a save, and then hooked over the bar from close range from Bernardo Silva. Haaland rose there at the back post. Goodness me, what a leap that was.
Yeah, no competing with him in that position, but Manchester City are trying to do everything they can before Arsenal can get organised. Every time they get a set piece, it's hand on, take quickly. They're not delivering corners into the middle, it's hands on. Let's try and find a way of moving these Arsenal players, try and get them in positions they don't want to be. That was just lifted to the far post before Arsenal was set to ready to defend it, which gave Haaland the advantage and heads it across. It's a really good save from David Raya, because there wasn't enough power on the header to really push it too far away. He had to have a right good swipe at it with his left arm and try and push it out of that 6-yard box.
What a leap that was. Still Manchester City 1, Arsenal 2. We were just talking before the match with Jason Bird of the Daily Telegraph, who did an interview talking about how he imports salmon from Norway. Well, he's learned from those fish, if that's anything to go by. Here's Walker, now to the right-hand side, to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva back towards Kovacic, edge of the area, and now Diaz was onto it on his right foot, thought about the shot, no, gives it to Walker. Walker back towards Kovacic. It is very much eyes left here, and then there are acres and acres of empty grass to the right. Ederson, with his hands on his knees, is the only man for metres and metres of grass. But Manchester City with Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva going one way against Martinelli. In comes the ball, headed down by Calafiori, and then cleared away but only towards the halfway line where Manchester City have won it back. Well, we're into the last half hour. Arsenal have made it into the last half hour. Lyon with the 2-1 lead, so still not conceded the 10 men in the second half, with 93% to 7 for Manchester City. Now here's Gundogan turning full 360 degrees. Now Akanji, that possession figure goes up and up as Manchester City with Doku, back to Akanji. Now Kovacic, square Walker, shoots, it's deflected across the penalty area. It was an Arsenal body. Arsenal defenders applauding one another. Took it well wide of goal, behind corner, number 4 of the second half.
Yeah, it was Gabriel who got in the right position, scooped low, arms behind his back, as a lot of players do these days, but they're getting deeper and deeper. They started this half on the edge of the penalty area, then it was the penalty spot, 6-yard box. Now City are getting shots from pretty much the edge of the penalty area. It's not 25-30 yards now, it's 18 yards, and also somehow got to push up.
Gundogan takes this corner short to Doku, back to Gundogan, to the byline, left-footed ball in, headed away, but not clearing the penalty area by Timber. Still in the box, here's the chance, Guardiola with a shot, sat straight at Raya, who nevertheless still had to make a very good save, and with the contact it actually deflected the ball up into the air, and he was quick onto his feet to catch it.
I honestly think in all competitions, if you were doing the best 5 saves this season, David Raya's probably had 4 of them. I mean, the ball has ricocheted to Guardiola, probably at 10-11 yards out, slight angle. He's caught it brilliantly. Yes, it goes quite close to Raya, but not only does he save it, he manages to palm it up into the air so he can just jump up and then catch it before Gundogan, who was the first to react, could come in and head it in.
5 Live and the World Service from the BBC. Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton waiting to take your calls on this. So much to talk about, the events of the first half, as Walker has the ball, playing it out towards the right hand side to Savinho. 08085 909 693 to join the conversation. Walker, then back to Savinho, across it comes Diaz then again, just a little tap to his right. Walker again, ball in, headed up and across the penalty area by Saliba. Rain continues to pour down. Bernardo Silva now. Calafiori gets a foot to that, the bouncing ball, and then Havertz runs it away, but in the end just deflects it out of play for a throw. I mean, to talk about one-way traffic.
Yeah, I mean, they can't even get hold of the ball enough to play a pass in the channel or get the ball just to kick it over the halfway line. As soon as City lose the ball, as soon as Arsenal get it, the pressure from City to win it back is relentless.
Arsenal are massively backing themselves defensively here. It's a case of needs must with the 10 men, but Manchester City again, ball around the penalty area. This time it goes to the right again, and then in from Diaz, headed away by Saliba, only out to Kovacic again. Applause from the Manchester City supporters. Will it be only a matter of time before Arsenal crack? Doku, then Akanji playing it into the box. Ben White just got to that first, and now Declan Rice plays it away, and Arsenal might be able to break here, but Kyle Walker just takes the ball away from Martinelli and Manchester City. And there was a glimmer there. There was a glimmer of the counter-attack.
Yeah, there was a glimmer, but I've been in those positions where you've defended and defended.
And now Savinho into the penalty area against Calafiori, and the ball bounces off the Arsenal man onto the Manchester City man and through for a goal kick. And Manchester City, Bernardo Silva kindly goes to get the ball and drops it in the 6-yard box. This could be the yellow card moment. 2-1 Arsenal lead.
You got on the sweep. I was just saying though, John, I've been in those positions where you've had 10 men, or you come to a difficult place and you defend and defend and defend, and you have to try and figure out a way of getting out, getting up the pitch.
Raya's just sat down in the 6-yard box. He was going to take the goal kick, and now he's just collapsed onto his bottom, and the referee's walking across towards where the substitutes are, and I think this might be one of the substitutes has come onto the pitch, is it? And who's he looking for? Who is it he's looking for? Well, it's one of the Arsenal players who's received the yellow card in there, I guess, for coming onto the pitch. Miles Lewis Skelly, who looks a little bit sheepish, and David Raya is receiving treatment for a bit of cramp. Lyon, the Arsenal goalkeeper. Kyle Walker has come across to have a chat with the referee, Michael Oliver, just to ask him about what the heck is going on here.
Yeah, I'm sure that's all he's saying. I mean, He waited until just as he was about to take the set piece. He put it down. He moved across to the other side of the 6-yard box. Put it down.
How unfortunate! Put it down. Just at that moment.
Took all the time he could, and then just as he was about to kick it, he realised something was hurting. Not quite sure how that made an Arsenal substitute end up with a yellow card. It must have been something said, but there's no official in this area of the field, so not sure about that. But also certainly are just trying to take as much time as they can. Even though it, you call it
gamesmanship,
gamesmanship and all that. These Arsenal players have defended non-stop for 20 minutes now. As my point I was going to make is, when you defend like this and you try and get up the pitch, you just haven't got the energy. What David Raya has actually done there is just give them a couple of minutes grace, a couple of minutes just to get their breath back, find their feet again before we go again. Might not seem exactly what you want, but Arsenal will be happy with it.
There's a ball forward for Manchester City from the halfway line. So Raya received treatment. I'm sure Michael Oliver will have been saying to Kyle Walker, we'll be adding all of this on, but with the best will in the world, I don't think anyone in this stadium, 50-odd thousand, has been fooled by that. But Arsenal are testing the rules to the limits. And now City, Haaland with a flick into the penalty area, but cleared away, bounced off Gundogan and just blasted away downfield. Well, we're nearly midway through the second half. Manchester City 1, Arsenal 2, and as we approach that point, it is now Phil Foden who's been called forward. Pep Guardiola has made just the one change, the enforced change, when Rodri had to go off with a knee problem. As Doku now gets a chance to run towards the edge of the penalty area, he's challenged on the edge of the box. Timber it was. They're howling for a penalty. I think it was just inside the box, but Timber got enough of the ball, says Michael Oliver, and was able to put in the tackle, and the ball bounced away, and Manchester City come again. But that's what Manchester City want. Doku had a chance to run at them, but they're parked behind the ball again now. Foden will be on next time the ball goes out of play. Bernardo Silva, square to Akanji. 2-1 Arsenal lead. Doku is again wriggling away from Timber, who goes with him, carries the ball infield. Walker now 30 yards out. Doku still in the central position, left foot shot, bounced into the body of Partey, then back onto Doku, and Arsenal clear towards the halfway line. And we are now into the final quarter of the match, and it is still, as it was at half-time, Manchester City 1, Arsenal 2. And City with Kovacic. Then back to Savinho. Savinho just teasing the ball with his left foot, and then it spins to the feet of Akanji. And now here's Doku with his hair tied up, bobbing at the back of his head. Doku across to Diaz. The rain just increases in intensity again here in Manchester as City pour forward. City facing their first defeat of the season. Back to Akanji, looked to curl a shot, hit the back of Ben White, who was 3 or 4 yards in front of him, didn't even enter the penalty area, the ball there. Now Doku again. Doku on the left flank, away from Havertz, square from him again. Walker pulls it back, but Declan Rice just gets a toe end on that. However, Savinho is there, shoots left-footed, but Raya knew that was heading over the top. He reversed, backpedaled onto his line, big white gloves in the air. It's behind, it's a goal kick, and it's Jeremy Doku who makes way, Leon.
Yeah, I mean, I thought maybe he might take a defender off to try and get that extra player, that extra attacking player, especially as Doku's just started to grow into this game as well. The couple of runs he's had, couple of efforts in the last few minutes, but looks like Savinho will swap sides of the field. It looks like Bernardo Silva's going to go out on that right-hand side, and maybe Phil Foden looks like he's going to play alongside Gundogan, maybe 2 number 10s, just trying to get in that space, just trying to find that moment at half a yard.
Yeah,
that looked a bad one.
On Havertz. A rare moment where Arsenal were over the halfway line, and Havertz has been fouled by Diaz, and Havertz is down flat on his back and is now being helped up. So a free kick to Arsenal. This is a collector's item inside the Manchester City half in the second period. Arsenal with 10 men, and it does make sense for Foden to come on to try and unlock something in that central area. So Savinho now on the left hand side with the chance to run it. Timber that this free kick that Arsenal are waiting to take. Referee Oliver says, come on, let's be having you.
Yeah, I'm surprised Ruben Diaz got away without a yellow card there. I think long ball forward, he's forearm into the side of Kai Havertz's head. The amount of times you see a yellow card for that in the Premier League recently, he's not being given one there.
Free kick then. Declan Rice will play this, curl this long, and it's headed back across. Calafiori controls it on the edge of the area, but with that touch took it into the path of Akanji, who was able to clear. So Arsenal have players downfield if Manchester City are able to break away. But Ben White hits a long pass over the top for Martinelli, who does catch up with it, but in front of the Arsenal supporters, who've been distant spectators in the second half. A piece of the action there under their noses as Kyle Walker was able to come in and Arsenal retreat back into their own half. Miles Lewis Skelly was booked for unsporting behaviour, the substitute. One of 3 Arsenal substitutes today who weren't even born last time Arsenal won the league. But if they win here today, then hopes will rise, even though we are still only in September. Gundogan, then Kovacic, Gundogan near the edge of the area, out to Bernardo Silva now on the right-hand side, back to Kovacic in the D, tries to find a position around Declan Rice, who came across and immediately closed him down. Akanji, it is Manchester City 1, Arsenal 2, Diaz now, he's going to try a shot, it's deflected into the area, but it actually took the pace off it, and even though Raya had already gone to the ground, fortunately for Arsenal, it actually bounced towards him and he was able to get up and grab the ball. And now Calafiori has sat down on the edge of the box, and frustration. Yeah. Pep Guardiola turns away and does that thing where he rubs his face very quickly.
I think this one is a substitution about to happen. Calafiori's just been signalling to the bench, but he can't continue. Martinelli signalled over and Mikel Arteta rightly said, well, go down, give us a chance to make the substitution. We've already got 10 men. We don't need you trying to hobble on or walking off the side of the pitch. Go down. And Mikel Arteta screamed to Kiwior to get him back and get him stripped and ready as quickly as he possibly can. He won't want to go any minutes without having at least his 10 men on the pitch.
This is going to be Kiwior's first appearance of the season for Arsenal, where he's been involved with Poland in the Nations League. So Calafiori, who scored the equaliser, the controversial equaliser after the quickly taken free kick on his first start for Arsenal. He's already had an injury problem, a little injury problem this season. I'm not sure.
It's been a really difficult game to step into for your full start. I mean, he's scored a brilliant goal, he's had a great contribution, but not only is it a really intense game and situation, but his team have had 10 men now for a big part of this game, and when you're not used to playing 90 minutes of football, it can really test you.
Yep, so off he is, Calafiori being taken round behind the goal, and Kiwior is on the left side of the defence. I'm not sure if Calafiori will have been dreaming of scoring the equaliser in the way that he did last night, but certainly I think Arsenal will have been hoping that they could come and get what would be a statement victory this season if they're able to hold on, and I think particularly in the circumstances. I mean, this is the mother of backs to the wall performances in the second half, with the 10 men against Manchester City, and now Timber's done very well against Gvardiol, works it infield, but Phil Foden's there. Phil Foden making what is just his third appearance for Manchester City this season, yet to start the PFA Player of the Year, the man who won all of the awards at the end of last season. But on the field now, Manchester City coming forward. I think the rain has just eased for the time being. Akanji, 2-1 Arsenal lead. Arsenal, who would go above Manchester City in the Premier League table with this scoreline. Walker out to Bernardo Silva now on the right hand side. Bernardo Silva just rolling the ball into the penalty area, then playing it back to Diaz. He's on his right foot, but no Arsenal. Rice and Partey close him down, so back it goes to Walker on the right hand side. Walker then back to Phil Foden. Foden then centrally, Diaz again 25 yards out. Arsenal park there on the edge of their own area. Now Phil Foden again turns and gives it back to Diaz. Diaz shuffles it forward. The advertising hoardings change again as Manchester City with Kovacic, he goes for goal but shoots straight into the shins of combination of Havertz and Partey on the edge of the box. City come again. Ederson actually got a touch there in the centre circle, I think, when the ball rebounded to him.
Yeah, the City fans scream and shoot. What kind of a left foot.
Walker's going to try a shot from 25 yards, came off right, ricocheted down into the full-back position. Martinelli falling, just hooks it out of play. Quickly across. Walker takes the throw, just plucked the ball off the white cone. 2-1 Arsenal lead. Kovacic again, Kovacic to Akanji, then to the left-hand side. Savinho now having switched flanks, wiggling his left foot in a Ronaldo style over the ball. Square from Akanji, back to Diaz. Diaz now, 2 Arsenal players in front of him, touches it to his right to Walker. This is the ultimate attack against defence. Bernardo Silva curls one back across towards Kovacic, sets up the low shot through the crowd of players from Diaz, but straight at Raya, who says thank you very much and drops forward onto it.
Again, Arsenal will be pleased. All of that passing, all of that defending, all of that manipulating the ball, City, to end up with Ruben Diaz shooting with his left foot from, 20, 25, maybe even 28 yards. So, yeah, Manchester City look like they're about to make a double substitution, because at the moment, Arsenal are reasonably comfortable.
Ball bouncing forward for Arsenal, and Akanji has to head it away. The Arsenal supporters there claiming for the foul, the challenge that there was on Havertz. Manchester City actually just having to be careful here. Foden, yeah, double change. Grealish and Stones are going to come on next time the ball goes out of play. And we are now remarkably into the last 15 minutes of this Premier League match. 5 Live and the World Service from the BBC. The weekend where we've brought you the big fight from Wembley. We've brought you England against Australia. Now here we are with the big game in the Premier League as Haaland tries a shot inside the penalty area, but that is blocked, and Declan Rice just clears it away up towards the halfway line. Ederson comes forward, stays in play, so no substitution yet. Forward from him to Diaz, and Arsenal retreat again, so Diaz is able to carry it on and then give it to Gundogan, and then Haaland back to Gundogan, still outside the penalty area to the left time, this time Akanji back to Diaz. Diaz looks up, it's all red and white in front of him now. Foden with one of those runs into the penalty area, but went for the shot, and defenders in front of him, and low fives all round as the shot flashed wide and over. And here come the changes.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as these changes are made, if Arsenal keep this clean sheet, the centre-halves will get a lot of credit here, but the midfield work in front of them has been absolutely incredible. They're running across sides, they're moving up and down the pitch. Timber at wing-back has been, incredible with regards to the effort they're putting in. The centre-halves will get the credit, but what a work rate from those midfielders.
So it's Savinho and Walker who are substituted. So Savinho, who only really had a few minutes on the left-hand side, Grealish has come on to play there, and John Stones has taken up a position in the midfield as the ball bounces back to Ederson. We've got just over 10 minutes to play. Manchester City 1, Arsenal 2. And Manchester City facing their first home defeat in any competition since Brentford. Remember when Brentford won here in the November of 2022? That was 681 days ago since Manchester City last lost a match here. Here's Kovacic outside the area, shoots, but it flies away over the top of the crossbar. Trying to pick out the top corner, but got his sights wrong, and it's through, and it's a goal kick for Arsenal. And David Raya just wipes those big white gloves on his yellow kit. He's made a couple of very good saves again. David Raya was beaten for only the second time in the Premier League this season by Erling Haaland. No disgrace in that. Haaland scoring with his left foot in the 9th minute, and when that went in, I have to confess, Leon, even though it was the opening goal and it was an early goal, you did think that it might well be Manchester City's day, but all sorts of controversy and happenings in the first half. Rodri going off injured, the goal, the quickly taken free kick, Manchester City incensed with that. Arsenal then having Trossard sent off for kicking the ball away just before the break, and Gabriel scoring with another of his trademark headers from a corner. Here's Walker playing it in as Arsenal continue to lead by 2-1. Back it comes to Akanji. Akanji then to Gvardiol. Gvardiol skips one way, then gives it back to Akanji. Then Gundogan, now Kovacic. Kovacic to his left again to Gvardiol, then to the right once more. And Kovacic just plays it in low to the edge of the penalty area. That's cushioned back by Gundogan. Kovacic, now Gvardiol again into the penalty area. Foden's here towards the left-hand side for the time being. Now Diaz, he's on his right foot, plays it low into Kovacic, but the challenge came in on him. Good challenge as well. Arsenal haven't cleared it. Partey in the D, and then away from Saliba towards Martinelli. And Martinelli might be able to hold it up here. That's what he's trying to do. Plays it back to Partey, who quickly passes it out towards the left-hand side. Excellent defending from Arsenal in there, Leon.
Yeah, no panic when they won the ball back. Manchester City trying to pressurise them in their own penalty area. No panic, there was no just kicking the ball away. They're trying to find passes. There was a moment, a counter-attack was potentially on, but kept the ball for nearly 40 seconds. It doesn't sound like a lot, but let me tell you, it'll feel like a lot.
We are now into the last 10 minutes here at the Etihad. Manchester City 1, Arsenal 2. Gundogan though, almost right on the edge of the penalty area to Akanji. Bernardo Silva now, left-footed ball in, but Raya steps forward and just puts those two big hands up and catches the ball into them.
Yeah, I mean, it was a cross that always favoured the Arsenal goalkeeper, but I just get a feeling with that substitution, John Stones has come on for Kyle Walker, Kanji gone right, Diaz in the middle, Guardiola. John Stones is going and standing right next to Erling Haaland when City get the ball. It's like he's being an extra big man in the penalty area in case City decide to start crossing the ball, to putting it into dangerous positions.
The ball is won back by Arsenal, and Kovacic just bundled into Havertz, knocked him over. It's a free kick and another chance for a breather for Arsenal. So Arsenal coming here with this, now into the latter stages of the game with this lead. Manchester City not lost in 47 home matches. Manchester City have not lost a Premier League game here when they've led in their last 60 league matches. So some big totals, some big runs set to fall here, but Arsenal supporters, with these circumstances, they will not be counting any chickens, taking anything for granted. And then Declan Rice is yellow carded for delaying the restart. This free kick, Michael Oliver with a yellow for Rice, who now does take this free kick, which is headed away by Akanji, far side of his own penalty area, and it's allowed to roll out. And Martinelli, who just let the ball go there, turns and just raises his arms towards the Arsenal supporters in that corner, encouraging them to get behind the team now that Arsenal are down there. Throw in, a long throw to be taken by Kivior. Kivior just waits with the ball in his hands and then takes the throw towards the dead ball line, and Martinelli gets a touch. It's a hopping mad that Arsenal couldn't keep possession down there. It's through, goal kick taken very quickly. Manchester City, Guardiola on the touchline is urging Manchester City downfield. We've got 6 minutes to play plus added time. Arsenal still in front. Gundogan now, but Arsenal are back in position. Here's Grealish, new into the game. Grealish back to Kovacic. Now Akanji out to the left-hand side to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva up against Martinelli. Bernardo Silva pulls it across. Diaz, left foot, right foot, and then little tap to the right to Grealish. And Grealish against Declan Rice, the two of them teammates for England just a couple of weeks ago. Now Akanji lifts one in. Raya comes, makes a comfortable catch, leaning, diving outside the 6-yard area and then dropping onto the ball. And we have now got 6 minutes to go, Leon.
It's going to seem strange to say, but Manchester City look like they've run out of ideas. It looks like they're not quite sure how to break this very stubborn Arsenal team down. They've tried to find the pockets of space. They've really struggled to do so. They've tried to move the ball wide. Now they're trying to cross it. Up till this point, Arsenal have an answer to everything.
Well, there's another cramp victim, Martinelli, but he's actually been helped up by Gabriel. Wasn't expecting that. Wild play continues. Bernardo Silva now. Arsenal need everyone back. Manchester City with Bernardo Silva all the way on his left foot, allows it to run to Diaz, who gets right underneath the shot and skies it high over the bar, and it lands 3/4 of the way up the lower tier of the north stand.
Well, a couple of things. First of all, I'm not sure how many efforts Ruben Diaz has had from the edge of the penalty area, but if that's where they want to have the effort from, they might as well move Haaland to the edge of the penalty area and put other people in the penalty area to take up bodies and roll the ball back to Haaland to shoot from the edge of the penalty area, because at the moment he's not touching it, and Ruben Diaz and Guardiola and Akanji are having all the ball in those areas. You might as well put somebody else there that can really scare this Arsenal team and affect them. And on the other situation, Michael Oliver not allowing Martinelli to go down with cramp. He's got cramp, he's struggling to get about, they've dragged him up. Michael Oliver is not allowing him to go down, which is surprising, to be honest, because the player's injured.
Yeah. Well, Jesus is waiting to come on, the former Manchester City man. Not seen Raheem Sterling back here among the substitutes, back with Arsenal, and now the ball's bounced out on the halfway line and bouncing in between Mikel Arteta and Pep Guardiola, and I thought for a moment we were going to see a little flashpoint between the two former colleagues, but no. Diaz to his right to Akanji now to the right hand side to Bernardo Silva. Martinelli is now having to defend with his cramp. Bernardo Silva back to Diaz, then Akanji again. Arsenal winning here, winning at the home of the champions, 2-1, and only minutes left now. I make it less than 4 minutes of the 90. Diaz chipping it in, Foden heads it across, couldn't find Haaland, comes out, Guardiola with a shot, saved by Raya, and then cleared away by Saliba. Very good save by Raya. That probably as good as any that he's made today.
Oh, absolutely. Just as I'm trying to work out what Michael Oliver's doing, he's making Martinelli go off on the far side of the field with the substitution. I've just spoke about some of the saves David Raya has made. His saves will be, I mean, there'll be a showcase reel of some of his saves already this season. Only five or so games in, which is incredible. But, you know, those are the kind of saves here at the Etihad. If they can see this through, those are title-winning saves, season-defining saves.
3 minutes to go. Arsenal on the brink of winning at Manchester City, having already won at Aston Villa and Tottenham this season. But it's not over yet, as Diaz plays it to the edge of the area to Gundogan. Akanji. We are now into the... We've got less than 3 minutes to play. Diaz's ball lifted into the penalty area. Couldn't find Haaland, who made his run beyond the back line. Back it comes towards Gvardiol. Square from him, drives it to Akanji. Akanji's ball in, looking for Haaland. That was well defended, headed away by Saliba, who managed to win the header against the towering Haaland. Diaz again. Diaz forward towards Foden. Now Kovacic. Kovacic to Akanji. Akanji. Then Bernardo Silva on the right. Back to Diaz. Diaz takes a touch. Gvardiol now, who's just been denied by Raya. And now Diaz to Bernardo Silva. Gabriel Jesus comes across. Akanji trying to find a position just outside the area to lift it in. No, he goes back square to Kovacic. Now here's Grealish. Can he find a way through on the edge of the penalty area? One way, then the other. Then back to the right. Diaz, Akanji, right corner of the box. Kovacic with Partey in front of him. Partey comes in with a challenge. Kovacic finds the pass to Akanji again. Akanji back to Kovacic. There might be a chance here, but no, quickly closed down. Foden then turns it to Grealish. Grealish carries it into the penalty area, passes it back to Kovacic. Square from him to Diaz. Diaz now shoots. That's blocked. Comes to Foden. Foden's little ball in. Haaland tries to get the shot in, but no power. And Raya is able to comfortably actually take it almost like a back pass and then take a touch and pick it up. And it remains Manchester City 1, Arsenal 2, and we are now in the 89th minute. Leon Osman.
I mean, you know, if they're doing education on how to defend a 2-1 lead at the Etihad, Arsenal is exactly what you want to see. They're being brilliant. They're moving across quickly. Their midfielders, the energy and the acceleration off a couple of yards, because they're having to shuffle from side to side to get out and block shots, get across, make sure you defend everything. The two centre-halves have been magnificent. Well, three in this half at defending headers. But you just feel that if Kevin De Bruyne was stood on the edge of that Man City penalty area, somebody capable of pulling the trigger with real quality, that City would be at level in this game, because it keeps coming to Kovacic and he doesn't trust himself. It's gone to Diaz, who's been missing the target. It's come to Gvardiol, who hasn't quite fancied it. It's just not fallen to somebody they really trust with quality to shoot the edge of the penalty area.
There's no action going on as the referee was waiting to restart play, because Timber had gone down, as it were, with a cramp problem. The referee waited for him to get himself sorted out, and as soon as he restarted play, Timber sat down. David Raya has cleared the ball out of play, and the Manchester City fans and the players are saying, hang on, Raya's just kicked the ball away.
Well, the referee said play on, I'm not stopping it, so David Raya went to kick the ball out on the far side of the pitch, and as soon as it released his foot, Michael Oliver stopped the game as if the ball gone out. It didn't go out. Akanji went over and kept it in play, so the game should have continued. City felt they hadn't kicked it out. The game can continue. He's on the floor, but Michael Oliver had blown his whistle.
Manchester City losing. We've not said that for City after a home game for almost 2 years. They've not lost in the Premier League this year since the defeat at Villa last December, and Timber is still climbing to his feet. Bernardo Silva is having a right moan up about it. Pep Guardiola is in discussions with fourth official Andy Madley on the side of the pitch. We're going to have 7 minutes added on. We've been tipped the wink that there will be 7 minutes of added time. The lines are open for 606 on 5 Live, 08 085 909 693. I think there'll be a howl of derision in a moment when they see only 7. In actual fact, it's going to be a change first, and Miles Lewis Skelly, the already booked 17-year-old, is going to come onto the field for his Arsenal debut. First appearance in a competitive first-team match for this Londoner from Islington. And what an occasion he had to step into, coming on for Timber.
I mean, first of all, brilliant performance from Timber. He has literally left it all out there. He's trying to get up and down best he can. He's closed everybody down. Well, you're right, Miles Lewis Skelly's come on at left wing back. They've all shuffled over one. Kivio's come inside, Gabriel's across, which means White is now right wing back.
Now I'm told it's going to be longer than 7 minutes after the substitution and that latest delay. But we are in added time now. We're in added time. And I've not actually seen the board. Here's Akanji playing it in. Haaland with a header, but it's caught by Raya, who he got no power on that. It just looped goalwards, and Raya was able to catch it up to his left. Bernardo Silva was booked for something he said in the middle of all that as well. I can guess the gist of it.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard a lot about the 2 centre-backs for Arsenal this season, but they have not given. I mean, Haaland's had one moment where he's been able to get away from them and he's scored. Other than that, one of them has been touch tight, physically holding him, making sure he doesn't get free headers, he doesn't get away, he doesn't get a second in the penalty area.
Oh, that looked like handball by Diaz deep inside his own half. It is 7 minutes that have been officially added on, but it will be longer than that, we're told, because of those delays just before the 90 minutes came up. So it's 7 minutes plus question mark. Manchester City 1, Arsenal 2. Gabriel's headed goal right at the end of the first half could prove to be the match winner, just like he was at Tottenham last Sunday afternoon. Gvardiol to Grealish. Grealish now to the penalty area. Back to Gvardiol. Right foot. Back onto his left. Arsenal have got Ben White in front of him, so Gvardiol has to go back outside the penalty area. Foden now. Bernardo Silva across to Diaz. It's Diaz again. Diaz on the edge of the D. Doesn't shoot. Plays it square. Foden. And Foden couldn't find Haaland. And Arsenal will clear through young Lewis Skelly. And the ball out of play on the halfway line. We're in the 4th minute of added time. Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton waiting on 5 Live to take your calls, but this is 5 Live, the World Service, BBC Sounds, Football Daily. We'll have all the interviews. We'll bring you the live interviews during 606, by the way, with the managers. Plenty to talk about. Grealish now into the penalty area, but just got a heavy touch on that. Cleared away by Havertz. Grealish, though, is able to get there first, win it back. Grealish moving infield and then finding the pass to Foden. Foden now working it to the right-hand side to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva been absolutely compelling this second half. One-way traffic and then some. And he's lost it over there, and Arsenal are able to bring it forward. And actually it's played back by Gabriel Jesus into his left-back position to Lewis Skelly, who will go all the way back to Gabriel, who will then hit it long, and it drifts out of play for a throw into Manchester City, which they take quickly. We are now in the 5th minute of added time. Still Arsenal leading. Kovacic now to Foden, and now Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva, how many late goals have Manchester City scored over the years? But Diaz, it's just poked away from him. Excellent work from Arsenal. I think this might have been Partey or Rice who got the touch on that. Manchester City through Ederson. Forward it goes towards Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish being held up by Havertz, and now here's Foden just outside the penalty area on his left foot. Foden shoots, deflected into the box. Akanji is there, back out to the right hand side. Bernardo Silva taking on Gabriel Jesus, and the former Manchester City man Jesus is able to dispossess his former teammate. A big cheer from the Arsenal fans over in the corner, but he hasn't cleared it. He's taking it back towards his own corner flag and actually is running out for a corner, and he was still on the ground when Bernardo Silva took it into him. And a yellow card is shown to Gabriel Jesus, who I guess Michael Oliver says deliberately blocked the taking of the corner. So a yellow card for Gabriel Jesus.
Yeah, I think he did. I think his boot had fell off. I think he was trying to buy his team a free kick. That ball went out. Corner kick was given. Just as it was about to be given, he just swung his leg at it. You have to be 10 yards back from the corner being taken, so that's an easy yellow card.
Here is the corner, in from Bernardo Silva. Raya's come and he's caught it in amongst a crowd of bodies. The Arsenal goalkeeper coming, and a huge cheer for that take from the Arsenal fans in the two tiers to our right, and he's got the ball in his hands. And Leon, we are now in the 7th minute of added time.
That is the best thing to see if you're a defender. If you're in there panicking, a bit nervous, late stage of the game, you're tired, you've been backs to the wall, your keeper comes through bodies like that, claims it, you're so happy. Brilliant goalkeeping yet again from David Raya.
Diaz heading the ball back to Ederson, and Havertz was almost in there, but Ederson was able to block it away. Arsenal have not won here since Arsene Wenger was the manager, almost 10 years ago. Arsenal's last victory away from home in this stadium against Manchester City. Akanji plays it square. Now Diaz to Jack Grealish, and now we're into overtime. Grealish taking it on, driving it across, and it hits Saliba at the near post, comes off his knee, bounces behind for a corner, and he celebrates that like Daniel Dubois last night. Corner is taken short and given back to Grealish, who took it. Grealish into the penalty area, stabs it back, shot from Kovacic, that's blocked, and it's smuggled into the net! They've found it! Arsenal crack! And it's 2-2! How they found a way through, I'm not sure, but they did. The shot from Kovacic, John Stones was in there, and Arsenal players hit the ground, so close to winning here at the Etihad Stadium, and Manchester City draw level in the 9th minute of added time. 2-2 the score, and John Stones saves it for Pep Guardiola and Manchester City. Yellow cards are shown, 2 of them to Manchester City, whether it's Guardiola or whether it's his coaching staff, but it is Manchester City 2, Arsenal 2.
Well, there could be a huge moment in the way the Premier League season turns out, and they've huffed and puffed really, this Manchester City team. They've not really created enough clear-cut opportunities, but they've just tried to take quick set pieces all afternoon long, and they've just caught Arsenal out there. The tired legs have just been overwhelmed. Grealish has got into the penalty area before Arsenal have even been able to react. Cut it back to Kovacic, quick shot, ricochets to John Stones, and it's the equaliser.
It is John Stones, and now before players just restarted, and now all of the players have got involved in a sort of kerfuffle. Really, it's not a brawl or anything like that. Players are just milling around after somebody maybe has said something. It's very difficult to know. Those 2 yellow cards that were shown by Michael Oliver to in the general direction of the Manchester City bench. I'm not sure about that. It was Pep Guardiola and Xabi Mancecido who were shown the yellow cards. So
well, what happened, John, was it was a more aggressive carbon copy of what happened at the very start of the game with Rodri and Havertz. Free kick, the kickoff is taken all the way back to the goalie. Thomas Partey has just tried to stop the run of Erling Haaland, going to close him down, and Haaland just hasn't noticed he's there. He's just ran through him with every bit of force he had, barged him onto the floor because he was trying to block his run. Free kick given to Arsenal. That's where the melee came from.
So the referee sorted all of that out. The goal coming in the 8th minute of added time at the end of the match, when 7 were signalled, but we did know that it would go longer than that. And Manchester City they could not have left it much later. And there is the final whistle, and Pep Guardiola and Mikel Arteta walk towards one another. There's a handshake and then there's an embrace. What a tussle it was between these two teams. The top two in the Premier League for the last 2 seasons. They were the top two coming into this weekend, and they've finished 2-2.